How do you know if you married the right one? First and foremost, I do not believe that there is a right one. I believe that marriage is for healing, not just for happiness. I believe when you do the work, you can get to the happy. And so therefore, you want to make sure you at least align with someone who has these 7 values so that you know that you can become the one for one another. Marriage can be challenging, but it can also be so good if you're willing to accept the real purpose of marriage. And remember, marriage again is about healing from all the stuff of our past. But there are some fundamental characteristics that each person should have that enter into marriage that will lead you to having a successful marriage. And so today I'm going to share with you 7 of those things that I think that every couple needs to have a successful marriage. The first thing is to feel safe. You need to be married to someone where you feel safe and you know how to make them feel safe. Now, safety is not just about physical safety. It's about mental and emotional safety as well. See, many of us can easily recognize when we're being physically abused. But here's the thing I need you to be careful of. The way you raise sometime can give you the gauge of what is abuse. So if you grew up in a household where maybe you saw your parents hitting and fighting and cursing each other out, you may perceive that as normal. But anytime that is a consistent thing in your marriage, it becomes toxic and that will become a problem. So I want you to feel emotionally, mentally, and physically safe in your marriage. The thing is, it's not always so easy to identify what emotional, mental, and spiritual safety looks like. So if you're in a relationship and you are constantly being attacked or criticized, you're in a toxic relationship where there is no emotional safety, where you can't relax. You can't feel like you can be yourself. And I don't want you to get this mindset of thinking that if you do the right thing or if you move the right way, you can shift the way they are behaving towards you. Their behavior is not your responsibility. That's on them. That's their character. So pay attention to their character and see what that is. Is that someone you really want to be tied to for the rest of your life? Because trust me, marriage is not going to change them. You can't change them. So if you see that they're already talking to you in a way that makes you feel belittled, if they're already attacking you, attacking your character, criticizing you, always shutting you down, making you feel unsafe emotionally, mentally, physically, if that's happening even before you get married, it's going to happen in a marriage. So I want you to know that it's so important to feel safe, because it's only when you feel safe in a marriage that you can be vulnerable enough to open up about everything. And that's what's required in order for a marriage to grow. The second thing I think is so important when you're picking a spouse or deciding to move forward in a relationship is, are they kind? Guys, like, kindness will take you so far in life. You really want to be attached to someone who is kind. How do you recognize whether they're truly kind or if they're just pretending to be kind for a season? Don't pay attention so much to the way they're treating you, because you're going to do that anyway. Pay attention to the way they're treating other people. While you're out and about, while you're dating, the way they talk to their family, the way they talk to their mother, their sisters, their aunties. Notice how they treat strangers. Notice if they hold the door open. Particularly pay attention the way they treat like wait staff at a restaurant, or staff that's in a environment where the person has to serve them. How do they talk to them? How they react when things aren't going their way? Here's the reason why you want to notice those things. Because even if they haven't treated you that way so far, that's part of their character. If they're the type of person who belittles other people, talk negative to others who are serving them, understand that character is going to come for you at some point in time. So kindness goes a long ways. Kindness is where you see whether they're considerate, empathetic, friendly, courteous to others. If you see that that is a consistent part of their behaviors or their personality, this is a person you can consider moving forward with in a good, healthy relationship. The third thing is trust. Trust is huge. Listen, but when I say trust, we're not just talking about being able to trust them not to cheat on you, but we want you to be in a relationship with people that you can trust to hold space for your emotions, for your thoughts, for your ideas. Not only can you trust them with your dreams and your hopes, but can you trust them with your fears? Can you be fully vulnerable with this person? Do they create a safe space where when you share what you're going through, that you don't feel like you're going to be attacked for feeling the way you feel, or you're going to be afraid to share the things that maybe scare you or that you're not comfortable with? Can you trust that when they are the ones even doing something to offend you, that the relationship is one that you can tell them, hey babe, it really hurts me. It really bothers me when you do this. Can you truly trust them? When you're with someone you can trust, you are positioning yourself for a relationship that can thrive, that can grow, a marriage that can really flourish into what you need, because trust is a major staple and it's going to be required throughout to create a lasting relationship. Another thing that is so valuable in making sure that you're with the so-called the one or the right one is honesty and integrity. Listen, it takes time to see if a person is honest. Now, anyone, again, can pretend to be a thing for a short time, but honesty is shown over a period of time with consistency. So here's what you want to look for. Do what they say align with who they are? Are their action and words in alignment? Are they open? Can they hold a conversation with you where there's clarity? Are they willing to communicate about everything? Do you feel like there are times when they're hiding things? Listen, I'm not the one who thinks that the moment you meet or you get married that everything's supposed to come out. Again, I believe marriage is for healing. So this is a timeline process. This is not a one and done. This is not the day I meet them, they're going to be these things. But you do need to notice whether I am really dealing with an honest person. Do they lie about little things? Do they lie to avoid taking responsibility? Do they think it's okay to withhold information because they think somehow if I don't tell the person, then we get to avoid conflict? That's a level of dishonesty that could create a major issues later in the relationship. Again, no one is perfect. There are going to be moments, but I just want you to recognize that, is this the person that I'm willing to grow with? Do I see that maybe there are some areas in their life or in their character, or even in my own character, that I need to grow in? And more importantly, am I willing to grow, and are they willing to grow? Because that's what's required. That's what I mean when I say God created marriage for healing, not for happiness. Healing means God is going to allow all of that stuff from your past, your hurts, your disappointments, your frustrations to come up in the marriage. And when that comes up, are you willing to address it? Or are you going to hide it? Are you going to have to lie about it? Are you going to avoid it? Because when you begin to avoid the really hard things in marriage, your marriage is going to end either in divorce, or maybe it ends where you're married for a long time, but there is no connection, no communication, no love, no affection. So you have to decide now, what type of marriage do you want? And are you willing to become the honest person, the person that can be trusted? Are you willing to be kind, or notice whether or not your spouse is already kind? These are the things I want you to start looking for and addressing early in the relationship. Or if you've been married for a really long time, it's not too late to bring back the passion, as long as you're willing to, both parties willing to grow and begin to incorporate some of these things in their marriage. Now, here's a huge thing that's so important in a successful marriage. Everybody must take full ownership and responsibility for the part they play in the marriage. Like, one of the worst things is when you are addressing an issue with your spouse, something they've done. Babe, I see you didn't wash the clothes, or I see you didn't do the laundry. And their response is, well, you didn't do A, B, and C. I understand that maybe there's an issue or something that maybe you didn't do. But we want to be in a relationship with a person who's willing to go, I accept that I didn't do that. Thank you for letting me know. Or this is how I'm going to move forward. Taking responsibility and ownership for your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your behavior is everything. It is the place, or it is the thing that will allow you to emotionally mature in the marriage, in the relationship. So if you or your spouse is the person who avoids taking ownership, refuses to take responsibility, only blame or believe that the reason something is happening is outside of their control because someone else did something wrong, or they didn't do it, or they mistreated them. This is going to be a problem. This is going to be an issue that is going to create division and disconnection in the marriage. So you want to make sure that if it's you or your spouse, that you guys are willing to take responsibility. It is the game changer. Taking ownership for who you are and allowing them to take ownership for who they are is what is going to make your marriage thrive. And then lastly, do your values align? We don't think about values enough. We don't talk about them enough. But our values is how we make our decisions. Our values are the beliefs that we hold about life, about people, about everything that make us make the choices and the decisions that we make. So have you and your spouse or your possible spouse talked about, what do you value? Like, what is your money values? Are you a saver and they're a spender? Do you value being together, or do you think it's more important that you're separate in your finances? These are conversations that need to be had. How are you going to raise your children? Do you value a child having a voice, or do you believe in the authoritative parent where they must do what I say? Even though right now, maybe you don't have children or you do have them and you keep bumping heads about this, this is a value issue. So are you willing to do the work to learn how to be aligned in your values, or at least discuss what it is that you truly value? What do you value about spirituality? Is going to church really important to you, but maybe not to your spouse? Do you more so value the spirituality, meaning that I value that my spouse prays with me, that they read word with me, that we share the same ideas about spirituality, who God is to me and to them, and are we discussing it? Is that more valuable to you than going to church? I'm not saying one is right and wrong. I'm just saying these are the kind of conversations you need to have. It is in these small moments in the marriage that will destroy the marriage. Those moments of consistent dishonesty, those moments of feeling like you can't trust your spouse to be vulnerable. When you know that there's a problem and you are afraid to talk about it because the environment in your home feels unsafe. You feel emotionally unsafe. And you begin to realize that, wow, we have truly different values and I don't know how to bring that up. These are the little things that will destroy a marriage. But I want to tell you, it doesn't have to end that way. You can begin today doing the work. Listen, I offer a program called Think Your Way to a Better Marriage. And in this program, we teach you how to begin to communicate about these hard situations, because I believe every marriage should thrive. And I want to help you do that. So do me a favor, or do yourself a favor. Book a free coaching call with me today. You don't have to do this thing alone. And I want you to think about, are you willing to invest in growing your relationship the same way you're willing to invest in a wedding, or worse, the way you're willing to invest in a divorce? Your marriage is worth it. You can do the work. You can change everything and begin to have the flourishing, loving marriage that you really want. Let me help you do that. Thanks for watching.